Hello, dear friends of the truth. Actually, I wanted this to be a short video so I could record it again in English, but it's turning out to be a bit more complicated. I'll probably just have it translated because doing a complicated video twice is tough. You end up not remembering what you already said. You probably know her, Inspector Kalangala. I'm a big fan. And often it's a small detail that exposes the culprit. And you even know who the culprit is. You're just curious to see how they'll get caught. And I found a little detail in the Epstein files that at least made me suspicious. But first, let's talk about what's being discussed the most right now in relation to the Epstein files. You see, I'm trying to speak clearly so the AI can translate it too. So, well, I don't really know what I can say out loud here. I probably can't show it in the YouTube title. But as Liz Crokin has been saying for ages, there's a connection from Epstein to you'll see in a moment. So here it is in higher resolution. Rachel and Ray Chandler recruited underage girls for Jeffrey Epstein and Epstein's girlfriend Maxwell. And now that's come up in the files, but Liz Crokin has been talking about it for a while already. And it also showed up in the Q drops, which is why the Q people are so excited because they think the plan is finally being fulfilled. But of course, the thing is, Q has posted a lot of true things, just that no one has ever been arrested. And it's been 10 years now. So he started in 2017, but Trump started in 2016. He's had 10 years now to arrest someone. So here, that's Rachel Chandler with Eminem, and here with Epstein, with Bill Clinton. Now, we also have this email or the document from the Epstein files showing that she had these contacts directly, though this is an even lower resolution. Of course, Alex Jones has jumped on this now too. So here's a longer post about it. This has been around for a long time with this lady here. The intricate connections established here. You can check them out. You'll find the post if you look here. That's a pretty good summary. And like I said, Alex Jones is saying that too. Here's the word I don't want to say right now that I don't want to say. You can see it here. So you find this code everywhere in the Epstein files. He showed a couple of examples. So here, for example, let's go for no one else can understand it. So it's clear that this isn't about food. That's also completely clear in other posts. That's the code again, the one you know from the FBI files. Here, this stands for that. So that would fit. This here is more like teenage age, and that would be even younger, even smaller. They're setting up a whole party for this. You can check all of this out on Alex Jones. He also made a video about it. Of course, he frames it in a way that puts them in serious trouble. We'll see about that. We'd hope so. One more thing about Elon that I forgot. So it's obvious that Jeffrey is visiting him with three girls because he needs three girls' passports. He still hasn't commented on it specifically. Not about the wildest parties. He just says, yeah, they're out to get me and stuff like that. Yeah, you can check his feed yourself, but he still hasn't said exactly what he meant by that. And under every one of his posts, it keeps getting brought up again. I even wrote, why don't you address this accusation directly for once? He could just say, yeah, I meant something else, not wild parties or anything, but he doesn't even address it. So now let's direct our attention toward the specific document where I originally uncovered this detail. All right, this is from the new files. Parts of them are circulating, but not all of it. So there are some accusations against Trump in here, but they don't, at least there was an interview here. What came out of it, we don't know yet. This part's also in the back. Here are more allegations. A 14-year-old girl is said to have been raped here. What's interesting here is that two twin brothers, Alan and Orrin, are also being accused. As we'll see in a moment, they're also now on trial. I looked into it, so theoretically, you can't really see here when the allegations were made, but it could have been in 25. Since 24, it's been known that they're being accused, but still, it's pretty strange that they're actually on trial now. The rape of several minors. We'll see that in a minute. And this same woman, this very victim, claimed that she was both a primary victim and a direct witness of a large-scale sex trafficking ring. So, a sex trafficking ring? And she says it was at the Trump golf course in Rancho Palos Verdes between 1995 and 1996. And she says Ghislaine was the madam and the broker, the agent for the sex parties. And the clients were Epstein, Robin Leach, and Donald Trump. She was deemed not credible. And there's a specific reason for that, because that golf course didn't exist back then. Trump bought it later, but even in 1995, it wasn't there yet. The groundbreaking was, I think, in 1998. That makes the story seem unbelievable at first, but of course, she could have just gotten the location wrong. And she claims that there were ear passages there. And some of the girls went missing, or rather disappeared. So girls who were then reported missing. And then there were rumors that they had been murdered and buried there. That's obviously interesting because at that time, the place was actually being rebuilt. Construction had just started, so theoretically, you could dig things up there. Yeah. And she publicly asserted the claim that she was intimidated and threatened by Donald Trump's personal head of security. And if she ever talked about what she saw there, she would end up as fertilizer. Like the other girls. And she claims to have videos of sex parties with very prominent high profile people. And now it gets interesting. Dealing with cartels and having witnessed Robin Leach strangle a young girl to death. So apparently, Robin Leach strangled a young girl to death. Nothing about this is wrong. So she couldn't have made it up. And it's very specific. I'm about to get to what made me suspicious. At the same time, this supposedly happened around 1995. A driver called and left a voicemail. So a completely different witness, and he remembered that he had driven Trump and that he said things on the phone that really disturbed him, and he almost wanted to hit him. As a direct consequence of this situation, he consistently and frequently brought up the name Jeffrey while he was engaged in his telephone conversation. And one of his ex-girlfriends had told him that Trump had raped her, just like Epstein did. So he was talking to Jeffrey Epstein about the media and in a way that really upset him. So here are more allegations. Let me show you. You can also see the number from the document here. So several allegations, but none of them were pursued any further. All right, and now it's my turn. Yeah, I'm just saying this again so I don't forget that these three, Alan, Orrin, and Alexander, show up there. And I'll look that up for you again here. Yeah, so. And now, strangely enough, the trial against them is starting against these three brothers. There are a minimum of 8 different accusers, one of whom was a young woman who was only 16 when the alleged incident occurred. It's a real case. And this Robin Leach, right? He claims, and the witnesses also claim, that they were basically trapped in the very same criminal ring where innocent women and young girls were repeatedly raped. And this Robin Leach actually has something to do with Trump. He actually played a key role in his rise. I just looked this up from X, but you can read about it anywhere. Through his popular show, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. So he's a TV producer. Now take a look at this. In 1994, so a year before the whole thing happened, Robin Leach interviewed Donald Trump about his daughter Tiffany, and he said some strange things there. Listen to this. I couldn't find a better recording. Well, I think that she's got a lot of Marla. She's really a beautiful baby, and she's got Marla's legs. We don't know whether or not she's got this part yet. Only the passage of time would truly reveal the outcome. While it is quite clear that she has inherited Marla's long legs, we still remain completely uncertain as to whether she possesses this specific part as well. But eventually, time will provide us with the answer we are looking for. What is particularly interesting to note is that the famous television host Robin Leach, who sadly passed away in 2018, gave a detailed interview back in 2016, right when Donald Trump was actively running for president. And during that time, he stated quite clearly that no, he never witnessed him doing anything inappropriate around women. He even suggested that people should go and talk directly to his former wives for further confirmation. There wasn't the slightest bit of impropriety when I was running lifestyles. My staff and 19 field producers, 18 of them, I think, were women. Many of them interacted with them during interviews, scouting locations, and shooting B-roll in different places. Nobody, not a single person ever came back and said, Donald Trump was a bad boy. He says, and a lot of people say this, that he always behaved like a gentleman toward women. But of course, that doesn't mean anything if he only behaves properly in the presence of others. Now hold on to your seats. In the files, there's a massage book, like Massage for Dummies, in Epstein's records, which he gave to his wives. After all, they had to learn at least a little bit about massage. Officially, they were masseuses, so they had to know at least a little bit, and the foreword for it was written by Robin Leach. Now you might say, so what? What does that have to do with anything? Yeah, it's pretty likely that if Robin Leach and Epstein were in the same club, they probably talked about it and said, yeah, my girls can't really give massages properly. It looks kind of silly. By the way, I wrote a foreword for a massage book. Here, why don't you give it to your girls? It's not proof of anything, but it's definitely a strange coincidence. So, and now let's move on to another topic, which is related to this. Actually, I haven't even shown this yet. That's the tricky part with the cartels. So, supposedly, there was a cartel involved in the sex ring, in the sex parties, and so on. And here, it's made very clear these people are named. And which cartel is mentioned? The Sinaloa cartel. And now you might ask yourself, Donald Trump is fighting the cartels right now, but he didn't march into Mexico, where the cartel comes from, but into Venezuela. So he's currently eliminating, well, the Sinaloa cartel also did business with the alleged cartel that Maduro is in. They did business together, but of course they're also competitors. This cartel would have used the Sinaloa cartel, but you could also say that a competitor is being eliminated here. And what's interesting about this is a photograph with the president. She's currently being accused of some very serious allegations, namely that she's working together with the Sinaloa cartel. And these accusations are coming from the opposition, Senator Lily Tellis. And this picture is supposed to show her with lawyers from the Sinaloa cartel. In any case, it actually goes even further. This is an article that's supposed to defend her. She has political connections, meaning political ties to law firms that have defended well-known cartel figures, especially members of the Sinaloa cartel. And here, the journalist is defending her. Yeah, well, representing a client as a lawyer isn't a crime. Aha. Well, of course. Lawyers play the main role in every organized crime operation. You can even watch a few movies about that because everything always goes through them because they can do things that non-lawyers can't do. For example, attorney-client privilege, meaning they don't have to say anything about their clients. She, of course, denies that. But interestingly, she's also the first Jewish president in Mexico. And, as luck would have it, Israel, which you can read about in the Reds, sold weapons to Mexico, which then just happened to end up in the hands of the cartels, among others, the Sinaloa cartel. Here's another report about that. Sinaloa, I always spell that wrong. You can find it everywhere here, the Sinaloa cartel. And these are the weapons that were sold by Israel. German weapons are in the mix too, but Israeli weapons. So I'm not saying this is some that solves the case, but isn't that a strange coincidence? Someone is being accused because the excuse is always, yeah, those were just accusations to hurt him in the election campaign, to hurt Trump. But what does Leach have to do with this in the first place? With Trump, I need. She says, yeah, Leach was involved in those things, and so was Trump. And then there's a completely independent witness, also from 1995, who heard them talking about a woman and how they could get rid of her, I think, something like that, in the same year. And then he even helped them with their careers. So Leach and Trump knew each other, and he defended him. And it was exactly during that time that he made those strange remarks about his daughter. Maybe we're all looking in the wrong direction. Just real quick, because people always say I hate Trump and that's why I'm digging this stuff up. Guys, I'm a journalist. I go wherever my research leads me. And if it turns out he's innocent, that'll become clear to me right away. Or if he finally arrests someone, I'll be the first to cheer. For example, if Hillary Clinton or John Podesta gets arrested. Speaking of money, he's had 10 years there. I'll be the first to be happy about it. But we can see the Israel connection. And he's doing this with Daniel Well, who might have the blackmail material. And maybe he's got even more dirt on his hands. Who knows? What do you think? Tell me your opinion. Just don't insult me. People who insult me will be deleted. It. Oh, and maybe just real quick. Now, of course, the cute people are thinking, see, now everything's going to be exposed. He's making all the bad guys the big boss now. And somehow that's supposed to lead to everything being revealed after all. Guys, just because Q posted something true once, by the way, most of the time when you were in that phone, he just posted stuff he found somewhere else from other anons. I don't know if that's the case this time too. But now to believe that, he resisted the whole time. Only because Thomas Messi was so persistent did anything get published at all. Dozens of things are redacted, and these things just slip through now. Maybe they overlooked them, or who knows? Redacting 3 million documents. That's an insane amount of work. They probably went through them using keywords. That's probably what happened. Maybe they misspelled Sinaloa, just like I did, and didn't find it, for example. Or Sinaloa. So, I mean, how likely is that? So someone is accusing this Leach guy who would accuse someone who at first glance has nothing to do with it of strangling a girl. And then on top of that, he's actually well known. I mean, that's not something people usually just make up. And then there really is a connection too. Oh, right, I have some nest. Where was he in 1995, Donald Trump, I mean? He was in Los Angeles from time to time because he was often on TV there, but mainly he was in New York and Florida. But this Leach guy was in Los Angeles, and that's 36 kilometers away from this supposed ranch. So whatever that was, later on there was the golf course. It's not far. It's about a half-hour drive. So it's possible he found it somewhere in that neighboring town. And this victim, after how many years would that be? 30 years? Couldn't remember exactly anymore. Couldn't remember where it was. So I definitely find that suspicious. It's not a smoking gun, but please let me know exactly what you think. I have to add a little postscript because I found something else while I was looking for a thumbnail image. This is going to blow your mind. This will also be my thumbnail image. There's actually a photo from Donald Trump's wedding. And Robin Leach is in it. This here is Robin Leach. And in the background, that's Jeffrey Epstein. Right here. You couldn't make this up. And he's grinning. This took place at Donald Trump's lavish wedding ceremony. You really couldn't make this up. Right here. I mean, it doesn't get more symbolic than this, does it? Looks like Lucifer himself. What more can you even say?